All right, in this lesson, we're going to learn how to graph circles using equations. So graph circles using equations. So we remember the form of a circle equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And so we're going to talk about what each part of that equation means and how we set up the graph. So example 1, take a minute and copy down this equation. And we're going to try to figure out as much as we can about the circle to make the graph. So first, I can see this equation is in the form x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So I automatically know, since I don't see any h or k values, that tells me that the center is just going to be 0, 0. Right? The center is going to be at the origin since this circle's not shifted. So I'm going to plot the center. And then I want to find out what points are on the circle. So the next thing I want to figure out is my radius. So I know that r squared is 49. So if I take the square root of 49, I can see that the radius is 7. So that's going to help me plot my points. To start with, I can just go 7 spaces in every direction from the center. So for this circle, I'm not going to find any other points for these circles today. We're just going to find 4 points and sketch the graph that way. So to fill in my table, I can find 0, 7, negative 7, 7, 0, negative 7, 0, 0, 7, or 0, negative 7. And so this circle, you guys can make it nicer when you do it, is just going to look like that. So that's the basics for a circle with a center at the origin. That's our simplest example. So let's look at our next example, which is going to have a shift involved. All right, actually, let's do this example first. Okay, so copy down this equation. This will be example 2. So copy this equation down right here, x minus 3 squared plus y squared equals 16. And take a minute and think about what this graph is going to look like. So I'm going to start by understanding this center. I always want to find the center first. So this x minus 3 squared, that's a horizontal shift, like we learned on Friday. And specifically, the minus 3 is 3 units to the left. So what that tells me is my center is going to be 3 units to the left. There's no vertical shift. I can see from looking at my y squared that the y is not shifted at all. So the center of this circle is going to be 3, 0. That's the tricky part, is just identifying the center first. Since it's x minus h, then that means 3 is my new x coordinate of my center. And then there's no k, so my y coordinate is just 0. So now I want to find the radius, just like last time. My radius is equal to the square root of 16, which is 4. So to find the points on my circle now, I'm going to go over 4 units in every direction from, the center, and then I can find my points in my data table. So I can go 4 spaces up, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units to the left, 4 units down, and 4 units to the right. And so now I can draw my circle graph. Oops. You guys can do a better job with your compasses. Okay. And so if I want to fill out my table, I can just look at my graph to see the coordinates. So negative 1, 0, 7, 0. 3, negative 4. And 3, positive 4. So these are 4 points that should make this equation true. Okay, so we'll do 2 more examples, just identifying the circle and the radius and finding the key points. So this example, if you guys want to copy down example 3, this equation, take a minute. Why don't you, this is a good one to pause the video. So this is example 3. Pause the video and try to get a good graph of this, or try to at least figure out the center and the radius of this circle. All right, so hopefully you looked at the equation and tried to identify the center and the radius. So when I see that it's just x squared, that means there's no horizontal shift. So the x coordinate of my center, when I'm trying to figure out my center, Sorry, let me erase this. So the x-coordinate of my center is just going to be 0. And now let's figure out the y-coordinate of my center. So when I'm finding my center, when I see there's no horizontal shift, I'm going to start with 0 for my x-coordinate. Now how do I find my y-coordinate? So y plus 5 squared is a vertical shift. And it's kind of the opposite of what you would think. So when you see that it's plus 5, it actually means it's 5 units down. So the y-coordinate will be -5. So here's my center of my circle. So next step is to find the radius. I'm just going to take the square root of 36, and that radius is 6. So now that I know my center and my radius, I can create the graph. I'm just going to go up 6 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 6 spaces, down and across. Okay, and then you can sketch your circle graph. So to fill in my data table, I'm going to list the points on the circle, these 5 points on the circle. So it's -6, -5, and +6, -5, and then it's 0, 1, and 0, -11. All right, we'll do one more example that has both a vertical and a horizontal shift. And this one, hopefully you guys can do fully on your own now. So pause the video and get in your notes, try to get a really good sketch of this graph of this circle. So this is example 4. So x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 100. So pause the video and see if you can figure out the center and the radius and the key points on this circle. All right, let's figure out the center first. You guys should be right now, you've already done the problem and you're just going to see if your answer matches mine. So center, I want to find my so this circle I can see has a horizontal shift and a vertical shift. So the horizontal shift, x plus 2 squared. So when I see, it's always kind of the opposite of what you would think. So when I see that it's plus 2, that means it's actually, the shift is actually 2 units to the left. So my x coordinate is going to be at -2. And then my vertical shift, y minus 3 squared, that 3 is going to be 3 units up. When it's subtracting, it moves up. So 3 units up means it will be at +3. So I have my center, -2, +3. Now let's find my radius. Square root of 100 is 10. So I can just go 10 units in each direction from here. So that's going to get me to -7 and 13, or let's see, -12. You can try to do it without counting, right? -2 minus 10 is -12. -2 plus 10 is +8. And here I go with my circle. Not the best circle, but we got the key points on here. So -12, +3, 8, +3, -2, -7, and -2, 13. So that's how you analyze the circle equation to create the graph. Make sure you understood those examples because we'll be building on that skill on Tuesday.